Welcome back to another episode of Trading Secrets. Today we are joined by professional fashion model, entrepreneur, former pageant queen, and Bachelor Nation fan favorite, Hannah Godwin, now barber. I don't know, legally, we'll have to ask you, Hannah. Hannah rose to fame after her time on season 23 of The Bachelor and season 6 of Bachelor in Paradise, where she eventually got engaged to her now husband, Dylan Barber. He's been on the show. Go listen to that episode. But prior to being on the shows, Hannah had utilized her business degree towards a career in social media, which she has been able to carry over into a successful career combining professional modeling, brand partnerships, blogging, and even founding her own photo and video editing app, SETI. We are going to discuss Hannah's career path to where she is today, including her experience on reality TV and eventually meeting, of course, Dylan, the planning behind the extravagant European wedding, and how she has utilized social media and her platform to generate new career endeavors. Hannah G, thank you so much for being on Trading Secrets today.
Yay, that was a good intro.
We are excited to have you. And the listening crew here is called the Money Mafia. When I asked them for questions, there were hundreds of questions.
Wow, good.
Have you talked a lot about the business side of Hannah?
I was just saying, this is not really a space that I do podcasts in, surprisingly, even though 90% of my week is doing business. But I always talk about the light stuff or Bachelor. So I'm excited to chit chat about what I actually do.
For sure. And because I think you're absolutely dominating it in all the things that we just mentioned, but behind that is really impressive women in business leadership. That is going to be a massive pivot for you because people look up to what you do and how you do it. Okay, this is where I want to start with. Usually, Hannah, we go way back to before show, and we're going to go there. But I just read an article about your insomnia and that you hadn't been posting as much because of your insomnia. So I just figured that's the most relevant thing right now. It's big in your life. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with your insomnia journey, and then also how is that impacting your business?
Yeah, so I think this past year, I've always kind of not slept here and there, not that deep. I can go a night or two without sleep. It's fine.
Yeah.
But this year, I don't know what's triggered it or what, but I was in Barcelona to look for my wedding gown. The most pivotal, part of wedding planning,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
I'm so excited. And it was so special and everything. My mom was with me and the memories I made there were great. But at night, I wasn't sleeping at all. So I went I was there for 7 days.
Okay.
I slept one night
What?
there. And the other, I didn't take naps or anything. I was not falling asleep at all. And I was just, there was definitely something off. And my mom was like, Hannah, you're sick. There's something off. What's going on? And I was like, yeah, it's annoying, blah, blah, whatever. And, so I went to some doctors and they're like, have these as backup, but try to obviously naturally kind of solve it.
Let me guess what
that.
these are.
Okay.
I know what these are.
Okay.
I know what they are because I got sleeping issues. 'Cause
Okay,
it was impacting
yes.
my business and personal life too. Are they called trazodone?
I have trazodone
Okay,
and I have Ambien too,
Okay,
which
got it.
I mean, I know some people need to be medicated for things and stuff like that, but I didn't want to rely on medication to help me sleep.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I was able to sleep a little bit better. And then in the past 2 months, it's just it's been nonstop. Every single night since November now, I've had to like take something or pull a full all-nighter. Yesterday I didn't sleep at all for a single minute. So last night,
last night you didn't sleep.
no, last night I was laying in bed and it was like 3 a.m. and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like I have to get sleep tonight because last night I didn't sleep.
Yeah,
I was like, for me to drive all the way to LA from San Diego, I'm like, I need to sleep.
sure.
So therefore, it is definitely impacting my life, day to day. And I'm not posting as much sometimes because I'm so exhausted. But I'm trying to wear myself out by working out and doing all these different things.
Yeah,
And I've tried it all, but it's awful. And there's a lot of people that deal with sleeping issues.
yeah,
Like
totally.
I talked about it on YouTube, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, like you don't
Mhm.
understand like how common this is. Like it sucks, but like you can try to figure out a way to figure it out naturally." I've been going to a naturopath doctor, which
Okay.
this is all new for me. I've
Yeah.
always been like, I don't even take Advil. Like I'm
Yeah.
like just like really just I don't know, like I don't take a lot of things,
Sure.
which there's nothing wrong with that now that I'm learning more. But But yeah, I've been going to a naturopath. A lot of my vitamin deficiencies are off. I have like big red blood cells, which apparently makes me really indecisive and slow all the time and fatigued. And then vitamin B deficiency, vitamin D. I'm deficient in all these things. So I'm hoping, or at least telling myself, that once I start taking these things, that I'll feel better.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that that's the case.
But yeah. It's like
you said you deal with it too?
Yeah, well, I dealt with it. I didn't realize I really dealt with it until I think The Bachelor, honestly.
Oh,
I think
really?
before The Bachelor, I just never, I don't know, I didn't have sleeping issues. Then being in the mansion, I couldn't sleep at all. You know, because we're on like, you have like 10 bunk beds. At least I was in that room with 10 bunk beds, 10 guys. I had Clay Harbor on the bunk bed, like on the same one as me, and he's like 6'5", so his feet were in my bed. Everyone's snoring.
No.
So what I did was I went downstairs, and where they do the rose ceremony, they have a couch there, and I took that couch out, and that's where I slept if I could ever sleep. Yeah, because I couldn't sleep in the mansion.
That's rough.
Yeah, but then I got to a point. This past year, my life has been the whole. I'm done not addressing health issues. I'm stepping into them because I have realized they impact, you know, personal and business stuff. And so that's when I got a sleep study done where they monitor sleep apnea. I don't have sleep apnea. And I went through all these things with specialists, and they just said it could be a bunch of things. They think it's either anxiety or ADHD. And then they prescribed me trazodone for when I need it. When I need it, I take it. I feel fine. I sleep great. Monitor my sleep with my Whoop. And then recently, I had realized, and we could do a whole episode just on this, that I wanted to explore that anxiety or ADHD thing. So I went to like all these specialists, and I found out I have ADHD.
Really?
Yeah, which is crazy. So I went my whole life.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But then they talk about, you know, it's all about exploring like your past. So as a kid, I was on like 15 teams. I went 100 miles an hour. And that was like a mechanism to cope with it. And one of the things she said is like, are you a jack of all trades or a master of one? I'm like, I'm the definition of a jack of all trades. She's like, that's a lack of focusing. And I mean, I could do a whole episode on this, but it's funny how as you kind of get older in life, some of these things come up. And even when you're like adverse to medication, which I usually am too, I try to do everything I can before that, you start to realize like your health is everything, and especially sleep. Like if you don't get your sleep, you're dysfunctional. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's a wild thing. Let's end the conversation on this with this. What has been the best solution for you yet? And like, what is your plan with how to deal with some of these insomnia issues you're having?
I just said as soon as I sat down a second ago, I don't think we were like recording yet.
Yeah.
But you're like, how's your year? And I was like, I'm like in my health era. I think it's going to be lifestyle. Okay. Incorporating foods that like just clean, super clean foods, cleaner lifestyle. Like I need to slow down. I think my sleep has dealt with anxiety a little bit too. So just like slowing down, journaling, doing things that feel good for me. Okay. And I even noticed just in my career, once I start doing that and stop trying to follow all the trends and what everybody's doing and having FOMO and missing out. Once I do my own thing, I do so much better anyways. So this is the year of Hannah. That was my word this year. I was like, Hannah.
Ooh, I like
every year
that.
It's been this and this and this. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to do me. And I feel like I thrive so much better when I do that.
I've heard a lot of people talk about 2024 themes, resolutions, all these things. I've never heard someone say their name. I think that's a trading secret right there. All right. Well, good luck with that journey.
You too.
Everyone will be following it. We got this shit.
We got this. We're going to sleep.
We are going to sleep. All right. Let's talk a little bit about, before The Bachelor. So I saw you finish third runner-up 2015 in the Miss Alabama USA pageants. And 2016, third runner-up. 2017, first runner-up. In 2017, it said you competed against Hannah Brown. I got to ask you, then, when you went into The Bachelor, you knew exactly who Hannah Brown was.
Yes. So, I tried out pageants for a second because I was like, why not? Like whatever, maybe it would lead to more modeling opportunities and stuff.
Was that the strategy? Go into pageants to get more modeling opportunities?
Yes. And there's a whole thing before that, which we could probably dabble into. But for a second there, I was like, let me try modeling and see how that goes. And obviously in Alabama, there's only so many opportunities, really. Like there's not like a huge entertainment industry and things like that. It's like if you want to put your name out there, pageants. So I tried some. I got first runner-up and Miss Congeniality, I will say, which I'm so proud of, which is like they vote and they say you're like nice or like cool or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You'll take it. It's good for the resume.
I don't know. I brag about it sometimes. That's all I got. But that year, I got that, and then Hannah Brown, I don't know what she had placed that year, but then I stopped. I was like, I'm done with pageants. I'm going to move to LA and try to figure this stuff out.
Okay.
And the next year, Hannah Brown won.
Oh, interesting.
Which was funny. So then that year, we all show up on the show, and I was like, wait, didn't you win?
Yeah.
Like the next year? And she was like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's so funny.
That is so interesting. Talk to me a little bit about the business, though. So you finished third, you finished first runner-up. When you finish in place, like in a pageant, do you get paid?
No. Well, I actually don't know.
Like if you win like if you came in second, so you came in second place, do you get paid like a second place prize?
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think so. You just pay money to be part of it.
So you pay to get into the pageant.
Yes, and like pageant lessons, and then like dresses.
What are
things
pageant
like that.
lessons? Like how to walk and
You learn how to walk and
Yeah.
stuff like that. There's like a whole strategy behind it, but a lot of the girls I was competing with, they were like, we've done this our whole lives. Like they were in like little toddlers and tiaras kind of things.
Like those.
I truthfully had no clue what I was doing. I was like, let me just try like whatever. Because in the meantime, I like pageants. I don't know if I even consider myself a huge pageant girl in a sense, because I was just like, what am I doing here? Like this, it was so fun and I learned a lot, but I just hadn't been doing it my whole life like a lot of other people. But my journey kind of getting to it was like I started in photography.
Okay.
And kind of working with brands and helping shoot weddings. Like that was what I went to college wanting to study, was photography.
Okay.
And then from there, I started working with clothing and helping boutiques, kind of on the brand side of things.
Sure.
And I created my space as a marketing manager. And basically, it was when social media and Instagram was just popping up. And they were like, we need models. And I would sometimes get other girls to model for me. Like I would be shooting them in these cute clothes, high-end fashion and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, let me just shoot you. And then sometimes they're like, Hannah, get in the shot. And I was like, okay,
get
whatever.
away from behind the camera.
Whatever. So I was like, okay, let me try. And like, then it got to the point where I'd literally just get my mom to like on the weekends and be like, okay, I have to shoot these clothes for this brand. Like, will you shoot this for me? So my mom was shooting me, and then I was posting it, and I was like doing all this marketing stuff and graphics and website and all this stuff, and tagging brands at the time was crucial.
Okay.
So I was working for a boutique, and I'd be like, hey guys, Hannah just wore your brand, or we have a model that just wore your brand. Is there any way you could tag our company and also tag the model? Her name is Hannah G11. And so I was working for this company and getting them engagement and views and selling product for them. But at the meantime, I was like, oh, what if I can kind of like almost be my own modeling agent in a sense? Like, and I was getting tagged by these giant brands, which back then you would get followers for doing that. Not these days, you get tagged by a brand.
Nothing happens.
You don't really get followers. But back then it was like a different time on Instagram. So I'd be like, yeah, make sure to tag our model. Thanks. And they would tag me. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was kind of developing my own little space sort of and modeling and just literally whatever. I had no clue what I was doing. But I was doing that and then also helping this boutique sell their stuff too.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Kind of genius. All right, let me ask you just a couple more things before we get into when The Bachelor finds you. You had mentioned pageant training. Just give me this one trading secret on a strategy to pageantry that we wouldn't know. Like, what is one thing you learned through that? Like, you got to do on stage, or like one trading secret?
Let's see. You know, this always stood out to me because I never knew this, and this is with like runway or with and I don't do a ton of runway. I'm literally 5'6", but with runway or pageants, whatever song is playing, you're supposed to walk on the off beat. So you hear a beat, like I wish I could think of any beat. If you want to beat, you could do.
We got
a
a
beat
song here
for you.
Rock me, mama, like a
wagon wheel. Okay, that one's fine.
Okay, give me another one.
But like you do the off, you just have to listen and find an off beat.
Off beat.
So it's not, you can't walk on beat because that looks kind of weird. It's like there's like an in between beat that you have to learn how to do, and you walk on that.
Can we play a song and then you'll do the offbeat?
I could try it, and
Let's
I could do my
it.
fingers.
I mean,
pretend.
you were a professional rapper on the show.
Let's never talk about that again.
So, I mean, obviously you have some form of rhythm. Okay, let's do.
It might not work with every
this
song.
beat.
Let's see if
All right, we got the visual. If you're just listening to this, go to YouTube and you can see the visual of her walking versus the beat, but it's the opposite.
So, yeah, don't go off of what I just showed you at all. Just go type in like offbeat runway, and there's got to be some type of better information. But
Okay. That's a great
we go.
strategy. I like that we talked about that. All right. Before the show, though, you talked a little bit about your work. You worked in social media. What can you make in a career like that before you started getting into everything that you're doing today?
Before the fact, before I went on the show
that,
and
like
everything.
just working behind the scenes in social media strategy.
Back then, it was like the Wild West.
Okay.
Like, people, like, okay, so some brands, I'll do an example. This one bag brand, I don't even think UGC was something back then. Like,
Sure.
user-generated content, like, that wasn't, I don't even know if that was a phrase back then.
I don't think so.
But people would reach out and they were like, hey, we love your photography. We've seen some of the work you've done. Could we pay you? I think I'll just say a random number. I think it was something around this. They were like $3,000 for you to create or shoot all of our line of bags, and you can also hire models if you want, or you can hire or get a photographer and you can be the model.
Okay.
But like, here's all of our bags. We're gonna ship them all to you. Make sure you ship them back.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, cool. And in my head, I'm like, well, I don't want to have to hire a model for this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to do the model and I'll take the budget for it. So I would get my mom to literally come in. It was a winter collection. And so we went to some park and I was sweating and I was wearing this like giant sweater. And I'm like at my mom, she's like my best friend.
Yeah.
I'm like, try to hold it like this. I would like position it. And she's like, I can't get it. I'm like, you got this. And I'm like sweating and like holding these different bags. They turned out amazing. And they were so happy with it. And it was just funny because I would hire myself as the model, but I would also position the photos and like aperture and like make everything look good and edit it after. But back then, that's kind of what I was doing. And then sometimes a company would I'd like reach out to people,
Okay.
or a brand, and I'd be like, hey, would love to have a piece of your clothing, and I'll shoot a photo in it for you to use. Like it was, they didn't even want to be on my page.
Sure.
I didn't have enough followers. And they're like, okay, cool. So I get a free shirt out of it, whatever.
That was that.
So
but if you had to guesstimate how much you were making at this time, like 50 grand doing this a year, you think 75?
I was really easing into that side of it while I was doing, so I was a marketing manager for a second.
Okay.
And then after that, I was able to start doing modeling full time.
Okay.
And with that, I was making probably around 150 grand
Okay.
a year. And then in the meantime, since it wasn't every single day, I was able to start taking on these like social media
Side
deals. And like when I was modeling, I was like making it look like I was doing something cool, but I'm just behind the scenes, like hustling, being like, hi, I'd love to shoot for you guys. Like if you guys need a model for free, like just trying to figure out how it works and get my name out there. But yeah, it was just, I had no clue what I was doing.
Boss though, you're doing modeling full time, doing around 150. Then you're side hustling. And how old are you at this point?
This was probably the year before I went on the show. I was 22 or 21.
So you're like 21, 22. Social media is not what it is today. Now today we know the monetization. It's very black and white. Everyone talks about it. Before then it was like a game and an art, and no one was even doing social media really at like high levels. And you're doing like over 200 grand then. Around.
Oh, I mean,
Total.
I have no clue exactly how much. Modeling was my main source of income, and then getting these other like opportunities in between. It was really varying. Like I wasn't really charging, honestly, a lot for social media posts. I was just getting my name out there.
Yeah, but it's still like,
But yeah,
my take, I'm like, I'm blown away by that. That's side of Hannah I didn't know. She was her own agent at 22. All right, so then talk to me about, how did The Bachelor find you? What was that process? Did you apply? Did they see one of your, modeling shoots? I mean, I do feel like everybody who competes at Miss Alabama is going to get a call at some point, but like, how did they find you?
I had been single for like, I don't know, like a year and a half or 2 years or something like that. And my friends, honestly, so I did an internship in LA one summer.
Okay.
That was like my graduation gift. It was 1 month of rent in LA.
I love that.
And there I lived in a 2-bedroom with 5 girls, and we like shared beds and everything like that. They were literally the best roommates ever. Shout out to them. I'm obsessed with them.
I love that.
But while I was there, we always would watch The Bachelor, and they're like, Hannah, like you should literally go on. And I'm like I would literally never like make it, like that doesn't make sense. But
Sure.
it was like our inside joke every
Okay.
single time, because most of them, I think all of my roommates at the time were in relationships.
I'm curious now, what seasons were you watching when they said that?
I wonder what season it was.
That's what I'm wondering. Like Ben Higgins season?
This would have been the summer before I got casted.
So that would be
the
Ari's season,
summer
right?
2 seasons before. I think it might have been Ari's.
So you're watching Ari's season. They're
Yeah.
telling you got to go on, and then what happens?
And I'm like, LOL, that would never happen. And time goes by, like whatever. And I mean, the show at the time was just so big. Like
Yeah.
anybody who's single and kind of cute, they're like, you just sign up for The Bachelor.
Sure.
Like it was just so big. And that's what people told single people, I feel like. It was just like, yeah, sign up, ha. And I was with my very best friend after I moved away from LA. I was so upset leaving LA, but I couldn't afford it at all. So I was like, okay, gotta go. Going home to continue modeling and things like that. And I was hanging out with my best friend, and she has this beautiful pool at her family house, and we're hanging out, had a bunch of mimosas, like way too many. We were like laying there, we're like, should we just make a video?
Yeah.
Like whatever, it's like a few questions.
Sure.
Like who cares? And at first I had been like, no, whatever. And she was like, let's just do it. Like who cares? She was my maid of honor. She's
Oh,
like biggest
my
hype woman
God.
ever. Like she's the coolest ever and the best. And so we made a video and sent it in, and then I heard back, and they're like, yeah, we want to meet you. And I had to go to Atlanta, and they handed me this bag, and they were like, you got it. Like, or we want to meet you. Like, we don't even really need to do this interview here.
Yeah.
Like, they just handed me a bag. They're like, make sure to hide the bag
Yeah.
that you're holding or whatever
Mm-hmm.
at this place in Atlanta where
Yeah.
everybody else was trying out. And I was like, okay. I don't know. I was like, what's going on? So,
Sure.
and then from there, I somehow ended up on the
On
show.
the show.
And it was insane.
The whole process is insane. You get on the show after a few mimosas. That's Colton's season for everyone listening, season 23 of The Bachelor. You finish, you're a fan favorite, you blow up. And a lot of people, pretty much everyone, was like, you or Tayshia were going to be the Bachelorettes. Like, that was it. Did they talk to you about being the Bachelorette? Did you go through the interview process? Did you think you would have been? What did that look like?
Yeah. So they had been having discussions about it even like while I was on the show. They're like, if you weren't to get it, like, would you be interested? And I was like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
who knows? Like, I don't know if he's going to choose me or whatever. And then after the show, it was so quick. Like, we're doing the live show. I don't even think at that point they had chosen the Bachelorette, or maybe they have. Essentially, I'm at home and they're like, okay, yeah, we want to like interview you for the Bachelorette. They fly you out, take your blood work, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
You interviewed for Bachelor?
Yeah.
Right.
Whole
So
thing,
it's like the whole thing.
the
They fly you out,
fingerprint, all this stuff.
do all that stuff. And then I got home and I actually got a call from Demi. And she was like, hey. And like I love Demi, but she was like, hey, so question, like, have you heard back yet?
Mhm.
Like, she was like, I was interviewing. And I was like, really? Oh my God, that's so fun. I was like, I wish I would have known you were out there at the same time. Like, that's funny. And I was like, well, did you get it? And she was like, no, like me and Kaylin, like we both didn't get it. I was like, what?
Kaylin too, right. She was-
Apparently.
oh, yeah.
I don't know. I should
Yeah.
talk to Kaylin about
Yeah.
it. But I think she was like, yeah, me and Kaylin, like we didn't get I was like, what? I was like, holy cow. I was like, I wonder who it's in between, like me and Tayshia, me and Hannah. Like, I don't really know because
Yeah.
I don't tell you anything. But they sent me the contract. I signed the contract. I had a whole shot list plan of where to shoot in Birmingham and stuff like that. But yeah, I had a lot of anxiety about it. I think anybody going into it does, or I would possibly think they would. I feel like I'm really good at being myself, and I think even on the show, it seemed like I was more timid, but really just because I'm not like dramatic, like calling people out and stuff like I'm just not really like that.
Yeah.
And if I try to act like that, I fully lose myself.
Yeah.
Like I try to stay with authentic me, and some people are more comfortable doing that.
Sure,
I'm just
of course.
not.
Yeah.
And so I was getting anxiety about it, and I was like, honestly, if it doesn't happen, like
It's okay.
it's fine.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way it happened is, so they came to my house and we were about to film like the next day. But then they were also down the street the next day at Hannah Brown's house. And I think I had seen
Do you guys live that close to each other?
probably about 40 minutes. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
35 minutes.
So it was easy to tell.
And I think I feel like it happened like, I think I saw like a Reality Steve post how they were filming for Hannah Brown. I was like, oh wait, that's funny. They hadn't filmed for mine yet. And I'm like, oh wait, this might be the answer. And they called. They're like, yeah, like you didn't get it. I was like, oh no, it's fine. But truly, like Hannah Brown's season was so iconic.
She killed it.
And she needed that role. Like I think I would have been worried that I would have lost myself too much in that, because I'm just not outgoing as much. Or I am outgoing, but I'm not like sassy in a good way. You know what I mean? Like Hannah Brown was able to like own it and be like, and I'm just more like
a little bit more reserved.
Chill with it.
Yeah.
Which probably would have not been as good TV. But.
Interesting. But it's like, I don't know that I've heard that someone's come that close to like they're even filming and then there's like a potential switch. That's kind of crazy. When they did that though, did you have, because you think about the way The Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise has propelled your personal, financial, and business life, all aspects. Did you consider maybe not going to Paradise because of that?
I feel like honestly, and even the same with going on The Bachelor, I wasn't thinking through these things a lot. Like, I think I was just more like, oh my gosh, I got it. Like, holy cow, that's cool. Like, and the same with Paradise. Like, I was like, oh, another fun adventure. Like, I had a relatively good experience on the first show and like likable, and like all my friends are going to the beach. Like, why not? And that was kind of as deep as it was. Like, I was like, maybe if I meet somebody cool, but like also like it's the beach. Like,
you're just like, whatever.
What else am I going to do this summer? Like,
I was
why
doing
not?
modeling gigs and now ABC's knocking on my door. This is cool.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay,
it
cool.
wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
I wish I would have taken more time to like think through everything.
Yeah.
But I was just like so like, I don't know. I was like on a high from everything. I was like, wow, that was so much fun.
It's always the grass is always greener, because I'm the opposite, right? I think about like every little thing. I'm such an overthinker. I overanalyze. And when I almost went on Paradise, I didn't go because of the overthinking. I'm like, well, if I go, I knew I would lose my job. I don't know. I just got out of this Bachelorette unscathed. Like, do I really want to roll the dice? Like, I thought so much and then said no, which is interesting. But it's funny how all that works out. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Sometimes a method to the madness is not having a method. And then, like you said, you're like, well, I wish I thought about that more. So I think that the conclusion is grass is always greener. But you go on Paradise, you end up with Dylan, you guys get engaged, you're now married. Post-Bachelor world has absolutely blown up for you. And we're getting into some of the branding strategies. But I just want to quickly ask you, from that point on, when you guys got engaged, I could be wrong here, but I feel like you and Dylan haven't really been in the Bachelor Nation mix as much. Tell me, I don't think like cameos on the show and stuff like that. Is that accurate? Or if so, why do you think it's accurate? Like, what's your overall disposition like with the show? Do you guys still do stuff together? Like, how does that work?
I mean, we are so insanely grateful for the show. Like, especially me, like I'm like, oh my gosh, like
same, yeah.
Life changed, just like really, I learned so much about myself, and just a really overall good experience with everything. But yeah, I think professionally, I just don't think I felt the need to be associated still with a show that I had done a while ago. I mean, obviously people are going to associate us because we literally got engaged on the show, and that's great. But I think that's probably like enough in a sense.
Totally.
don't know. Yeah, we're not anti
Yeah.
to like go to things. Like last week, for example, like we would have loved to attend the Golden Wedding, but Dylan was busy, and I was like, yeah, because Dylan's doing his own work stuff.
Yeah,
It's not like we're both like, okay, let's go
Sure.
get TV time. Like
Yeah.
Dylan is in a very different space.
I asked him to do an event this week actually, and he sent me his schedule. It's
Oh.
insane.
Oh, it's back to back every single
40
second
calls
of the
a day. I'm like, how do you take this many calls?
People don't realize how it's quite literally nonstop. And like even at home, I'm like, hey, let me know when you have a 10-minute break so that we can I can film something really quick, because he's just talking on Zoom calls all day and stuff. But yeah, with his work, it's not as important to be going to all of these events and stuff like that, which is really refreshing to me.
Yeah.
Because I do think sometimes people leave the show and they're like, okay, we have to stay in the buzz of everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've kind of liked doing
your own thing.
Yeah, I've kind of liked doing my own thing.
Were you guys invited to the Golden Bachelor wedding?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this then. We've heard this a lot with reality TV stars coming on, and then they try to get into like acting or other careers, and they say how still connecting their business brand to reality TV can hurt them. In the modeling space, is that kind of the case? Like because you've gotten to, you're walking the big fashion shows, like you've really built an incredible brand. Does it actually hurt you if you step back into reality TV in the modeling world?
That is definitely a reason why I've separated a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, like The Bachelor has been so helpful for so many reasons.
Of course, yeah.
But if I'm not still like currently on it, it has hurt some jobs before. Like for example, like if a brand wanted me to be on a billboard or something as a model, they don't want to be associated with a reality dating TV show. Like if they're trying to push some, like a women's empowerment thing, or you never know. Like there's all these other opportunities that I think, at least in the space I'm in, where I don't always need to be like, hey, remember me? I was also on The Bachelor. Like I think it was such a great part of my story. Yeah. And our story, me and Dylan's story.
Of course.
But and I love talking about it because it's like just the craziest thing I've ever done. But like branding wise, like I kind of like to be able to dabble in my own passions, which is fashion and beauty, and like that taken really seriously, and not like, oh, she's just relevant because she was doing this however many years ago. Like I've kind of tried to create my own like story and space for it.
And you have created your own story. You've done it extremely successfully. It's clear you're beyond grateful for everything the show gave to you. Used it as a jumping off point to do your own thing. You're now doing your own thing. You're doing it extremely successfully. I want to ask you a little bit about that strategy, because most people go on The Bachelor, almost 99%. You go on The Bachelor, you get your spike in following, and the goal is to maintain, and then eventually it's going to fall off and you're going to lose followers. You've done the opposite. You've gone on, got a huge spike, and then you've grown all your following. You've grown what I'm going to assume is your rate card. You've grown your income, your brand, all those things. What strategies have you deployed to do that, and how have you done it so well? Because you've done it in a category of your own from people that have come from the Bachelor franchise.
Yeah, I want to be like, I have no clue, but I do know. But like truly, like
luck, just pure
there was
luck.
there was not a giant strategy with all of it.
Okay.
I think a lot of it starts with the passion of everything. Like I was doing this and staying up till 2 a.m. not because of my insomnia, but before the show, because I loved looking at fashion and beauty and magazines and like getting in that space and editing photos for people and for brands. Like I genuinely loved that space, and I've worked from a brand side too. And I know that I would have been doing something in that space if it weren't for going on the show and it taking off in that way. But yeah, I'm genuine. It's genuinely my passion, all of it, and maintaining it, I don't think is always looking for the next best thing, but and also not, I mean, I love trends here and there, but not just doing things that are trendy and because it does well for a day, but really building that community and really just kind of like living a life that I genuinely love.
Yeah.
and kind of hoping that others do the same. Like I love when people come up and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like we're friends. Like what's up? How's it going?" Like that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like yes, people could get paid for this and things like that, but what's fulfilling to me is that my community feels like I'm being authentic and like I'm their big sis or their little sister. If they already have a sister, then just a friend. Like I love that I can be that for people and kind of give advice and not be taking myself too seriously all the time. Like, yeah, I'll be doing a cool event or at a cool whatever sometimes, but the wardrobe malfunction on the way to an event is what people like more.
To.
They don't care if I'm at a red carpet, whatever. Like, it's fun for me to do that sometimes. But when I'm at home, like joking around, like hanging out, like being quirky and stuff, like that's what I think stands out and really builds a good community, which I'm so grateful for.
I agree with that. I think there's some people actually from the franchise who have done the style of only posting red carpets, only posting when they're with celebrities, not showcasing these quirky moments. And I actually think it's the opposite. I think it's a massive turnoff because how is that relatable? While the red carpet and stuff are part of your life, I think like opening up about the malfunction or the shit show behind the scenes is like really what connects people. And it's interesting for you. That's what's worked. I don't know, like as I'm I'm listening to you, it feels as though like your strategy is like to not have a strategy. It's just to like pursue your curiosities and open up where you can, which is so different than I feel like most, which is interesting. Do you agree with that? I mean, it's like almost like not a strategy.
I love how you worded it. Yeah, I think it's just funny that the time I feel best about my content is when everybody's kind of in on the inside joke that I'm putting out.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to like plan out everything perfectly. Like it just does better if I slow down. And that's why I'm literally this year, I'm like, I'm slowing it down. Like that's enough. Like people don't care to see me doing these crazy things. Like I love that I can embrace where I'm at, no matter where I'm at. And I know like a lot of my followers, like I want them to be able to do the same. Yeah. Like you can thrive at home. Like, I don't know. It's just.
I agree with that. I think one of the issues in this space of slowing down, at least I could speak from my experience, is when it feels like if you slow down, this space moves so fast that and there's so much competition that you're going to be left behind. And I think that's one of the concerns with, I think a lot of people back home, you see us all over and posting and we're traveling and you're doing this and that. I do think there's a little bit of that motivation. Like if I don't keep up with it, someone else will, and then I'll be gone. Like, I don't know, that at least, that is something that I deal with. I don't know if you feel that at all.
Yep. It's that, and you can also, I think it's the space in general, it's really easy to kind of get lost.
Yeah.
And like I always say, like my proudest thing is like I never left my couch in Alabama. My mom and I would always talk about my biggest dreams ever, like on this couch in our little like condo in Alabama. I was like, oh, maybe one day I can do this and this, and she would just talk through things with me. And I still view everything from that couch. So I don't know how to explain, like things are still exciting to me. Like, and whenever I get a cool opportunity, like I don't want it to lose its excitement.
Yeah.
And like, I love that I can still feel really grateful and appreciative of all of these opportunities because I'm still looking at things from like this younger version of myself. And I even just content that I put out there, like it's easy to be like, okay, if they're doing this and it does well, I should do that. It's like, no. What would the younger, like my true grounded self, what do they want to see and what would inspire them? If somebody's out here bragging that they have this and this and this, like that doesn't make me feel good. Like what makes her feel good? I'm pointing to my...
To little Hannah.
Yeah, to little Hannah. And I'm very protective over little Hannah.
Yeah.
And she, like that's the perspective I look at whenever I do anything, especially in this space because it's overwhelming and it's amazing and it's great. But I am talking to all the little Hannahs out there. So.
I love that. I think that's so cool because it's such a world in which you could be comparing yourself to others and always trying to do what other people are doing, and then you lose yourself, and then you also lose everything you're trying not to, your health and your time. But I think one of the concerns about slowing down, at least one of my concerns, especially as it connects to this podcast, is like, how does that impact me financially? So I'm curious from your standpoint. You got 1.6 million followers on Instagram. It looks like 1.1 million followers on TikTok, 150,000 on YouTube. You have a blog, you do modeling, and then you have business ventures like the SETI app. When you think about Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, blogging, modeling, and then side business ventures, how would you rank? Like, what are the top 3 that bring in revenue for you?
They bring in revenue in different ways.
Mhm.
So I think the biggest deals that I get are on Instagram
Okay.
and stories and posts and things like that and creating and stuff. TikTok I think is really valuable because I've been able to show, I mean, obviously video content, but like this quirkier side of me.
Yeah.
Like, which is just literally how I am with my friends. Like I'm treating it like a FaceTime kind of on TikTok, which is so valuable. And that creates income in a different way, kind of. I mean, there are brand deals on TikTok, but I like it more for community growing. Like I feel like I can grow there, I guess.
So you make more on Instagram, but you build more of a community on TikTok.
Yes. And I also notice like I'll lose like I'll lose 3,000 Instagram followers in a week, but I gain 3,000 followers in a week. And I think that those are coming probably from TikTok, which is great for me because I'm getting like the people that are leaving, the people that don't care about my content, which is great. Like if you don't care about my content, it's great to like weed out and like I really want to grow a strong community. But the ones coming in are new and interested, and that's exciting to me. And then YouTube, I love YouTube personally. I think it's just longer form, like just for me to babble on and like talk about whatever and kind of no filter zone.
That's cool. Different places for different things. So would it say like, okay, Instagram or modeling, which do you make more in? If you had to think about it, which is more profitable?
Instagram.
Interesting. And then do you think modeling's like right under it?
Instagram, TikTok, modeling maybe.
Interesting.
Well, with modeling or what I like about Instagram and TikTok is I can show my personality.
Sure.
Like
modeling
it's more like your face, right?
Yeah.
Like,
or even,
which is fine.
You said it earlier in the interview. You said 5. You're like, I'm 5'6". I can't be running doing a walkway. Now, someone like me who doesn't really understand that, I was like, what do you mean? Are you saying like, do you have to have like if you are taller, if you're 6 foot plus, are you then making more and get more runways?
Generally, I mean, I was
Wow.
told no by every agency, Miami, New York, LA. I went multiple times. Like I had a full on breakdown in New York and I couldn't even afford to get there. Like my aunt, who was so sweet, like bought us a bus ticket, my mom and I, to New York because they lived up north. And I remember like, I was like, this is my big time. Like I'm going to go try it out. And I went to all these agencies. Every single one said no. And so when everybody was saying no, I was like, okay, I'm going to become my own modeling agent, sort of, for a second. And like tag people on Instagram. Everybody thinks I'm a model. I'm not a model. I'm just wearing clothes. I can't afford the clothes. So I'm just borrowing them from the store. It's good for the store. It's good for the brand. And then it looks like I'm modeling for a company. It's all an illusion. And then I ended up getting signed to smaller agencies in Nashville in Atlanta, which were cool. But all the big time agencies, still to this day, I've never been signed to one.
Do you know why they've said no? Like, do they give you feedback?
Height was always big.
That's so
Height,
interesting.
and then if they have, if this was before I had gone on the show, they're like, I mean, for a 5'7", whatever, blonde, like, it's like the people whose parents were big time actors, or they have a big social media following. Like that was kind of the space I was in. They're like, yeah, we already have blondes.
What
like,
a weird
or
world.
they're from overseas and we need to pay for their visas. So like we're booking them for these jobs.
Yeah.
Versus somebody like me who I'm like, yeah, I could figure it out. And in my head, I'm like, I have literally no clue how I'd be able to afford living here, but I would figure it out.
Yeah, but what I don't, so I try and think business, okay? You sign someone who you think could be successful and that's going to bring money in. You at 22, before you had millions of followers and a ton of pop culture fame, were making 150 grand off modeling. With a couple million followers and a ton of pop culture fame, you'll be making, I would assume, in 7 figures plus off modeling. Wouldn't they just see the potential in the dollars and cents and sign you?
I don't know. It is.
It's a bizarre industry.
It's interesting. Huh? And I think modeling is changing a lot too. I mean, for those days are 8-hour long days. And they say, okay, like So basically for my first modeling thing, I had basically a year-long contract with somebody
Okay.
where I went every week and I would shoot for 3 days for like 8 hours.
Okay.
And then that contributed a lot towards how much I was making from modeling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it was like random. Like you're like, okay, I'll go. And they're like, okay, we'll throw you $1,000 today. Like it was really just like not consistent, like all over the place kind of things. But
Okay.
I think that's still how modeling is now. Is I don't think because I have a following now that I would get paid more for modeling because it's such a gray area.
Yeah,
because they want me to post it too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe there's an agency too that also does modeling. I don't know. It's really interesting. It's all a gray area now.
When you walk a red carpet, or not a red carpet, I should know this shit, but when you walk down the runway, do you get paid to walk down the runway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like get like a range, less than 10,000?
Around
that amount?
Yeah.
And then some of the biggest models, I assume, get paid a ton.
for
Like-
the big
what
brands,
is the biggest
big
number
models. I mean, they get
You've
paid
heard
a lot.
from someone, like if like a big model, not yourself, like a big model. What is the largest amount you've ever heard someone get paid to walk a runway?
I mean, if you have like big people like Kendall Jenner or something. I
Yeah.
mean,
Like millions?
I wouldn't want to make up numbers, but like I'm sure she's doing well for that catwalk for
Yeah,
sure.
Of course.
I would love to look it up right now.
Isn't that
because
interesting?
I've
I
heard
don't know.
numbers, but I'm scared if I say one, then people are gonna look it up and be like, "That was so wrong, Hannah." But
Yeah.
she's doing great. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
totally.
But for somebody like me, like I'm just shorter, like girl next door. Like I was doing e-com type of modeling,
Mhm.
like posing. It goes on the website, it all sells out, and then the next week they have all new clothes, and that's kind of the modeling that I was doing. Music
Okay.
videos here and there and stuff. But yeah.
When you think about what's next for Hannah and you think about how hard and stringent that industry could be, like, is modeling 100% the direction you want to go into? Or like, what does the kind of career mosaic look like for Hannah G moving forward?
I love modeling, and if I could do more modeling, that would be great. I don't want to rely on modeling at all. I love that I can kind of control what my day-to-day looks like and my brand and who I am through social media. I think it's really exciting. Business is more the direction I would like to be moving in. I've invested in some companies and things like that. Real estate, I'm really looking into. I thought about being a real estate agent for a second, but that's a different.
I could see you on Selling Sunset.
It's very interesting. We're friends with them.
What's his name's good? Dylan's good friends with the Oppenheims.
No, we love them. Yeah, we love them. But is
that a possible move for you? Hannah's like, shut up. Don't ask me that.
Stay tuned. I'm kidding.
Stay tuned.
No, but
okay.
but yeah, I thought about real estate for a second, but business is like that's like I envision myself really taking this cool opportunity I have and creating a really cool business around it. Like
Yeah.
I love doing social media and stuff, and I would love to do it forever and ever and ever.
I love it.
But I don't know if that's a possibility. So
It could-
business is in treating that like my baby instead of treating myself like the star of the show all the time.
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's the long-term plan, is like get invested in other companies so that you can build outside of just your brand in case, who knows, Instagram flips the switch off or TikTok flips the switch off. Like, who knows how that'll happen? Who knows it'll work? Let me do this. Let me get at least, you can be any number. You could say $1. I don't care. I just need one number from you. When you think about your career after the show, what has been either the most surprising like payday you got, the biggest year, the best investment, the best deal? When I say think about a dollar amount, any dollar amount, it could be a check you got, anything. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you think about your career after the show?
Truly, it's insane the stuff I've been able to do. Like still every day, I'm telling you, I pinch myself and it's all so great. But the biggest thing, and I will say this for the rest of my entire life, and it is a reason why I do what I do, is moving my mom out from Alabama. That was like truly the best day of my entire life. It changed my life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
Where did you move your mom to?
So she was in Alabama. She was working at like literally way too many hours a week, like 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week at Lynn's Crafters in a mall. and just living in Alabama. And then I was going back and forth. I was like, oh my gosh, if I could do it, I'll do it. Like I was like, next year I'll be able to do it next year. And we were like so scared. And then I found a place down the street from me in San Diego.
Yeah.
And that day I was like, why don't you just put in your notice? Like, let's just do it. And she was like, okay. So then I was able to move her out, and she loves San Diego. That's my biggest accomplishment ever, 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 ever. I hung out with her last night. We watched movies together. Like, it's like, that's my greatest investment. She helps me with finances and things like that too. But yeah, like that was the coolest thing I think I've ever done.
That is so special. And like you think about just a few mimosas sitting by the pool with your friend.
Right.
And then all this comes to fruition that you can afford to. I'm assuming here when you say move out, I'm assuming you bought your mother a place here in San Diego or helped
working on buying a place.
Okay,
but right now
into
we're
a rental place.
Yes.
To take care. I mean, but you
she has a view of the water too. The beach.
Okay, so she's got a view of the water, and that was from your hard work. And you think about that coming from taking a shot over mimosas with a friend by a pool. It's
I know.
just mind-blowing.
And it's her. Like, she was the one who always encouraged me. It's that damn couch in Alabama. We made magic there, and so she's always like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm so grateful for you." I'm like, "Girl, this was you. Like this was like I like kind of got lucky thrown into all of this, but like this was her. Like so, yeah."
It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, something I got to talk about while I have you as we get towards the end here is my second book is called Talk Money to Me. And it's all about this idea of like love and money. So I want to talk just a little bit. You just had I'm going to go on the record saying the most beautiful wedding I've ever seen in my life. Like
Thank
that
you.
wedding was, other than like the royal wedding, which is on TV, that was absolutely stunning. So I have a couple wedding questions as we have a lot of people from the Money Mafia that are planning weddings. The first one would be, what is something you're happy that you like splurged on for the wedding that was worth it? Like, you know how you have to spend a lot of money and these things are crazy. When you think about one thing, you're like, I don't know, should we do it or not? You did it and you're like, hell yeah, that was the place to spend. Where would you say that was?
I mean, besides the venue, which I think was just like pretty iconic for the whole week and stuff, the food was definitely an expense where I was like, whoa, but it ended up being so worth it and so good, and the service was amazing. But the whole food thing in general, I was like shocked.
The food. Okay.
Yeah.
What is one thing you splurged on that you're like, we could have gone without that, looking back at the wedding?
It's really tricky because I feel like everything came together literally so beautifully and perfectly. But the only reason I'm going to say this one is because the venue itself was so beautiful, but I think florals are so important, but like I think since the venue was so insane and beautiful, like it didn't have to have
I think that's a good one.
But I mean, I still loved them and they were perfect and beautiful and added the perfect touch. But if I had to choose something, maybe that, because they are expensive and also the venue was just literally stunning. So probably that.
Grocery store Joe said that. He's like, flowers, man. They come in, they come out. I don't know, but
those poor things die.
Those things are gone, and they
live and then they die.
A whole lot of money. With how beautiful it is, did you guys, from like a business perspective, ever think about trying to get the wedding televised, or was that definitely a no-no?
We didn't care to get it televised.
Right off the table.
Yeah.
Okay. And were you able to leverage like sponsorships from Instagram for the wedding, and was there like a lot of that?
A little bit here and there. Like, honestly, we reached out to people and then just to hear what their prices were. And then a lot of people were like, yeah, we'd love to give you a discount if you tag us. Like, it was interesting that a lot of the people, they were the ones bringing up that they would want to do that. But we paid fully for photography, video, like everything like that. And then we still obviously wanted to tag and support them. Of
course, yeah.
But yeah, there were a few vendors and stuff like that it just totally worked out where we were able to tag them. And the reach, my dress company that I worked with, Pronovius, they were a dream to work with, like the best.
Yeah.
But they were tracking all of the analytics and stuff, and they said within the first week it was like a 60 million reach from all the magazines and stuff like that. Our wedding,
your wedding did 60
we are not tracking
million.
it.
Yeah,
but they were like 60 million people have viewed this in a week, the first week after, and we're like, what? And in my head I'm like, how do you even get all these numbers? But Yeah, it was
That
just
is
insane.
wild.
So yeah.
After the wedding, did you guys see a spike in Instagram following and stuff?
I wasn't really looking at
Yeah.
followers a lot. I was so kind of like overstimulated. Like I couldn't even look
Yeah.
at it because it was too much. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
even believe it myself what had happened.
Yeah.
And then you forget, like you have this big fun day and it was like literally insane. And then you have this whole other wave as an influencer where you're like,
It's crazy.
oh my
isn't
gosh, now everybody's going to look at it. So I
Yeah.
remember the next day it was like, we didn't have anybody post until the following day at 6 p.m. because
Okay.
with the time change, and we had like a,
Did you guys have a people
Exclusive.
exclusive
Yeah.
or something? Okay.
and so we were like all planning all that. And I'm like sitting here and I was shaking. It was like 5:45 and I'm like having to choose the 10 photos that I want in the slide for
Yeah.
me and Dylan. And I'm literally like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Dylan, give me a glass of wine. And I'm like, what's going on? And like we had just gotten married. I'm already so like, what happened?
Yeah.
But like I was like, Dylan, I feel like ill. Like I like am so nervous right now. Like we're about to and who cares? But it was just like, it's funny that I wasn't envisioning that when we planned a wedding. I'm just thinking of everything running smoothly.
Of course.
But no, after you have this whole other wave of people judging and pinpointing at things. I'm like, what if people say like my dress is ugly? Or what if people say like, you know, this looked lame? Or like, you know, you're thinking of all that. So I posted it, phone down, and then we were like, no, we gotta be present for a second. And then I started looking stuff like at honeymoon. I was like looking through things. I'm like, oh my gosh, like people are saying it's cool. Like that's crazy. Like it's just fun.
Everything I saw, I mean, like when I saw the comments and stuff, I saw it's like 99.99%. This is the most gorgeous wedding I've ever, like the style, everything about it. The only thing that I saw that probably connects to this podcast is, holy shit, how much did that wedding cost?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Like, let me ask you this, and I'm going to give you 3 options, okay? Because I told Hannah, guys, back home, I said, you have a safe word. It's Dylan. You don't want to answer the question, you say Dylan, because Hannah's like, listen, money talk's not my thing. But let me ask you this question, and you can answer 1 of 3. It's going to say, range of how much the wedding was. I'm going to hit a number, and you could say over, under, or I will give you an out to say Dylan, where you don't have to answer. Is that fair?
Okay.
Okay. I am going to say a range of, let's go 400,000. Over, under, or Dylan?
Dylan.
Oh,
sorry.
damn.
I know that's like really annoying.
I was so close, guys. I did try. I did try. All right.
If there's video footage, you might be able to see me calculating it or whatever, which might be a hint. So
okay, where
rewind
where was that video footage? In your YouTube?
Right here.
Oh,
if this is videoing, I might have been like
this. Were you lip reading it? Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a professional lip reader, and I'm a numbers guy, so I'm good at numbers, and then stay tuned to the recap. We're going to take a shot, and we're going to guess about it. Okay, I want to ask you about this. So love and money, the only thing I want to know is, just in general, do you and Dylan have any type of either financial rules or systems or anything you do when it comes to just like managing the whole aspect of finances, even if it's like, you know, once a month we get together and talk about it. Do you guys have anything you swear by that works?
You know, we're still trying to figure out everything too, because we just recently got married. I mean, we've been together for almost like 5 years now, but we keep everything pretty even.
Yeah.
We do have conversations. I mean, this year especially, I was like, since we just paid for a wedding, like we got to slow it down.
Yeah.
Like Christmas, like slow it down. Birthday, slow it down. Like he loves going all out and stuff. But I'm like, truly, like we need to be responsible.
Yeah.
So we both are really, I think we're both on the same page with things. Like we're not trying to buy a bunch of extra stuff. Like we're already moved into our house. Like we don't need a bunch of furniture.
Yeah.
This year's hopefully our year to like take it slower, to do date nights in and not like be spending all the time. But basically, like we don't have any type of joint thing. So like whatever he wants to purchase and buy, he can.
And spends,
Same with me. And then we have an in-between one that will go towards like water bills and things like that.
Yeah.
And mortgage and stuff. But other than that, like we kind of keep our stuff separate.
Yeah, that's, I mean, when I think about like, I think every situation has to be customized, but I think about 2 people working. I think the best system is if they're both working, especially full time, have your own individual stuff, agree on an amount that makes sense to contribute to a slush fund, and that amount can change of like what each person contributes based on their earnings. And in fact, I think it should be pro rata, and then take that slush fund and then go do with what you want with it. Like, I think that's a great system. That is awesome. All right, a little love and money from Hannah. So we're gonna get into questions about from the money mafia, and then we're gonna get your trading secret. But the last thing I gotta touch on is your app, Hannah. It's the SETI app. I saw it in the iTunes store. 3.2K ratings at a 4.8 star. For anyone out there, to get that many ratings on an app is huge, and it's usually an indication of how the app performs in general. So, first and foremost, what made you start the SETI app?
So like I was saying earlier, I started in photography, and I was in Alabama trying to make my photos look like I'm on this cool side street in New York, when I definitely couldn't afford to fly there, just by editing and like being creative and having fun with it. And as I was thinking of kind of what businesses to start, because I was like, okay, this is my year, I'm going to start a business. I was looking at all the different like types of business, and honestly, so many things were oversaturated, clothing and makeup and beauty and stuff like that. Like, it was just, everything was so competitive. And it kept popping up. I was like, what is my little superpower? And it's taking photos for people and making people feel good no matter where you are. And I was like, what if I started an app? And I was like, I don't know if that's possible. And no joke, within a few weeks, I had these developers reach out, and they're like, hey, we're building apps. We're looking to possibly team up with somebody, want to have an early conversation about it. And I was like, yes. Yeah. Turned out they were so talented and so great. And basically, we developed all of the filters, the branding, all of that. And they did all the like Apple and tech and type in your email and you'll get a free filter, like all of that kind of stuff. And we created SETI. And essentially, it's supposed to be used to basically enhance what's already there. It doesn't edit or change anything. It's like wherever you are in the world, like, you don't have to be in Europe all the time. Like, you can kind of embrace living, if you're a nurse in Alabama or if you're a teacher in Minnesota, like, you can kind of have this chance to be creative and like feel really good about it. So it's been fun. That. Yeah.
I think the first person I think about, my mom needs this app, because my mom goes on Facetune and she does like way too much. She's like, come on, edit this. I'm like, Mom,
no,
we
need
beautiful.
A subtle edit.
You don't need this. Subtle. The other thing I think this is such a good tool for is, right now, we know we're in a studio. Mark Kolster's here. He's an audio engineer and a video engineer. You guys go check him out on Twitter. His Twitter's hilarious. But he's doing the lighting, the 4K zoom. I mean, like, you think about what goes into this, it's a lot. People that are nurses, that are teachers, that want a good photo, they don't have a set to do this. So I assume if they're taking photos from anywhere, they could just use one of your filters and it makes it look kind of like it was done in a studio. Is that a good assumption?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you can kind of create a vibe out of wherever you are. And I just felt like there wasn't really that in the whole photo editing space. And we've been able to really build a community of people that use it and love it and feel like it really enhances their photos and their day-to-day stuff, which is really exciting.
More stuff about Hannah G you guys didn't know. An entrepreneur, owns her own business and started it. Let me ask you this. I got to get into business structure for just a second. The developers came to you. Did you end up paying developers? Or did you split like an equity deal with them?
We were able to figure out and coordinate a deal, like an equity type partnership with it, which has been really great and useful. So that's been fun. I think the next year we're really excited to amp it up. We've tested out merch and things like that, which has been really fun and a huge learning experience. Because getting clothing, especially made in the US and quantities and everything, it's been really complicated.
Yeah.
So it was fun to kind of test it under the app. But really the app is like what we're excited to grow the team with and focus on that. So
that is so cool. Okay, I got one more question about the app. 3.2 thousand ratings at 4.8 reviews. How does that translate? Like, how many users do you guys have?
We have had, I think we're almost at like 700,000 downloads.
Okay, wow.
And we have a monthly subscription and a yearly subscription. The yearly one's like $34.99. Okay. So we're really, really excited and proud of like the community that we've created with it. And we're just excited to grow it and like bring out a bunch of new filters and also like do things that haven't been done in the photo editing space. Like really go the more community route and almost teaching people how to take photos because everybody's using Instagram, but there's not a lot of like showing you how to get that shot. A lot of it's like, here's our filters, like go for it. I would love to kind of be that person to like, almost like the big sis to help you learn how to take cool and cute photos where you feel confident. So
I love it. Guys, I just want to put this out there. Test study. In this time that Hannah just answered that, I downloaded it for free, uploaded a photo, and edited it. That's how quick this thing was and how easy it was to use. I mean, you're absolutely nailing it. This is a really cool app, guys. Go check it out. And Hannah, before I transition over to the Money Mafia questions, we just have a few that we like to get through here. But I got to say, you got 700,000 users here paying a monthly and annual subscription. By the way, I want to put this out there, guys. At $34.99, that's $2.91 a month. So think about it. You do one photo, that's worth it. Go check it out. But between the blogging, the vlogging, the Instagram, the TikTok, the modeling, the business entrepreneurship, Hannah, you're crushing it. You are absolutely crushing it.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your, I know if I ask dollar amounts about how much you're crushing it, I'm going to get the Dylan answer. But what I could say from my analysis is congratulations.
Thank you. What was the Dylan answer? Oh,
the Dylan's a safe word.
I just say Dylan. I thought you were going to say what Dylan said.
Well, if I start asking you how much you make,
I was like,
know
I
I'm
wonder
gonna
what
get
Dylan says.
But,
Dylan. Yes, Dylan.
But
Dylan.
Stay tuned to the recap. Maybe we'll take a couple shots and guess. But before we get into your trading secret, I have a couple questions for the Money Mafia. We could do a little rapid fire if that's cool with you.
Perfect.
So the first one from the Money Mafia is, would Hannah get into acting? I could see her as a famous actress. Would you get into acting?
I actually totally would. I've been saying for the longest time I would love to be in a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
So if you know anybody,
Okay.
I also need to practice.
Okay.
We did like a joke thing on TikTok where Dylan was like acting like he was in a Hallmark movie and I was too. And I was like, wow, I actually would need a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I would love to do something like that. I think it'd be fun.
Okay, possibly acting. Someone said, you're in San Diego. Where will you live next?
I mean, we love San Diego a lot. It's funny, we just went to Miami and the whole time we were like, should we get property here? Like, I don't know if we'd want to live there all the time, but it would be cool to like get some real estate in Miami. Plus my best friend lives there. So.
Okay, there you go. There's the answer. Another one asked, would Hannah go on Dancing with the Stars? I'd love to see her on Dancing with the Stars.
I would love that. I love dancing so much.
Are you a dancer by trade?
I used to dance.
Oh my God, so you would kill it.
Love it.
Like you would actually kill it.
I would love it. I don't know if my time is up for it, but I think it'd be really cool.
Your time's never up. Okay, I have no idea what this question is. Someone said, how much did you make off modeling for Red Dress? What was it? A Red Dress, or is Red Dress a company?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Dylan.
Okay. The last one we got is, in your future, do you want to have kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Those are all the questions that came in hot that we approved of from the Money Mafia. Hannah, this has been an incredible episode talking about before, on the show, after the show, where you're going next. I think a lot of people could take a ton of inspiration from just like your overall approach to things. I think people are so focused on trying to keep up with others and think strategically, and the way you've done it is impressive. And then the results from what you've done are clearly there, but we got to end with the trading secret. So it's a trading secret that people can't get in a textbook. They can't find on a TikTok tutorial or YouTube tutorial or learn from a professor. They can just learn from like your experience. So it could be career advice, financial advice, just a life trading secret, but one trading secret from Hannah G. Which, by the way, actually, let me pause. Do we go by Hannah B now? Did you legally change your name?
No, I'm sticking with Hannah G, Hannah Godwin, but casually Hannah Godwin Barber. Like we're the barbers, and then when we have kids one day, I'll probably switch over.
Okay, just while I got you there. Okay, so Hannah Godwin, trading secret. What can you leave us with?
I think it's important. And I would think in many other different industries too, not just like social media, is stop consuming and stop like doing things that everybody tells you to do all the time. I feel like everybody has an opinion about everything. And I think like taking time and kind of finding like my couch was my couch in Alabama and doing it for that person, like what's your purpose kind of thing. slowing down truly and thinking of what fulfills that core version of yourself, I think is crucial. And also that's where creativity is like, it's hard to be creative when all these people are out here doing this and doing that. Like, I feel like you're able to like do the coolest things and make something out of nothing if you're allowing yourself to have that space, like that empty space that's just your space. Like, don't let anybody in that space and protect that.
I love that. And that connects to your 2024 theme, which is one word. It's Hannah.
It's Hannah.
And I think those lessons right there are really good ones for people back home. If you're listening to this, you feel like you get lost. You feel like you're caught up in the mayhem of everything. My takeaway is like when you think of that little girl, Hannah, like what is my little Hannah in my life? Like that's what I need to figure out. So when you do get deregulated or when shit happens or when health things come up or, emotional things come up, like what is that fallback that you're like, okay, remember that person or that event or that thing, kind of like what would they do? How would they treat this? It's such a good way to say centered and grounded. So that's a hell of a trading secret. Hannah Godwin, where could everybody find everything you have going on? Where can they download your app? Tell us where they can get it all.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, Hannah G11.
Okay.
I know I thought about doing Hannah B11. I don't even know if it's available anymore. So I'm sticking with Hannah G11.
I like the Hannah G because everyone that does know you from Instagram, there's the Hannah B and there's the Hannah G. You're the Hannah G.
Exactly.
So
if there wasn't a Hannah B, I'd probably be more like, let's Hannah B it. But now I'm like, Hannah B's got her thing.
Yeah.
I got mine. Maybe if she changes her last name when she gets married, maybe we'll look into doing like
a
quick switch. We'll see.
It'd be funny if that Adam's last name would be funny if it started with a G. You guys do a full swap.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, why the 11?
Hannah G wasn't available forever ago, and I love the number 11.
Okay,
so
cool.
It is what it
So
is.
Hannah G11, go give her a follow. Where else can everyone find everything?
Hannah G11 on TikTok, on YouTube. I think just Hannah Godwin should pop up somewhere there. I don't know what the exact name is. And then I have SETI app, so definitely check that out.
Which is a filter app, right?
Yep, it's a photo editing app. It's not going to change how you look. It just kind of highlights what's already there. So
yes. I need to get my mom on that app.
Yes.
Because she always says filter the apps. I go, Mom, no. And then she'll go on Facetune and I'm like, Mom, what the hell did you just do?
No, we are not Facetuning over here at SETI.
Yeah.
We're just making things look really cool.
Okay.
And
All right. So Mom, if you're listening, go get the SETI app. And for anyone else there, just a slight enhance, no changes. All right. Anything else you want to promote or where people can find?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, Hannah, thank you so much for being on Trading Secrets. What an episode. And I'll tell you what, I'll be tuning in. Will you be on Selling Sunset? You said stay tuned. So thank you so much for being on Trading Secrets.
Thank you for having me.